Hello, all, and welcome to an all-new episode of Press YYZ, your favorite Canadian gaming podcast. This is your weekly reminder that Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ plus lives matter. You can watch the show weekly on youtube.com/PressYYZ, live on twitch.tv/PressYYZ every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, or listen at your own leisure on podcast services like iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. We appreciate however you choose to support the show, whether that be subscribing to us on Twitch with that free sum that comes with Amazon Prime, going to your podcast service of choice, leaving those 5-star reviews, giving it a thumbs up on iTunes and YouTube and all the like. But if you got no loonies or toonies to toss our way, it's all good. We'll be here for you no matter what. I am your host for the evening, Mr. Mitch George, joined by He Only Does Everything, Alex Kozi.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say?
And our thumbnail thespian, AJ Fraser.
I mean, you could acknowledge the recognition that, we leave everything upon your shoulders, at the very least.
Tonight, we're going to get into a conversation of what we've been up to for the last week, and it's going to be a smaller, more intimate show where we're going to cover our main topic being a top-tier list of the best video game relationships. Guys, it's quiet today.
So, yeah, I mean, Nathan's not here.
Alex isn't here.
Yeah. It's super duper weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame him, honestly. There's things that are more important than this show.
I don't know about that.
I mean, you say that, but we all know they do more important things than come over to this little Twitch channel, YouTube channel every week and just goof off about everything we love about video games.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could maybe argue that about Alex because he makes really good documentaries. But Nathan, what does he really do? Who is he really? Do we even really know?
I know he has kids, I think.
Yeah, literally in his description.
We've seen evidence of children.
Twitch stream.
So, okay. So I guess that means he's clearly the most romanced of this romance episode, and he's not even here to celebrate.
I mean, he's got more important things to do for Valentine's Day than spend it with us, so.
It's fair. Totally fair.
Speaking about spending time with the Twitch channel, Kozi, you spent some more time than usual over here this week. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So this past Monday, I was like, you know what? Let's give Apex Legends a whirl this here on this here channel, Press YYZ. So, as you know, at the start of this year, I made the decision to switch over my private Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CozyBearLive, to exclusively doing cooking-based streams because I wanted to kind of change things up, give my life a change of pace, try something new. But I pledged that at some point in the future, I would return to doing video game streams at some point. And we had previously talked among ourselves, we need to do some more video game content here on Press YYZ's Twitch channel to kind of give people things to look forward to on other days of the week. And it had been brought up, hey, Kozi could play Apex or some other multiplayer games together with the community. And eventually we kind of put 2 and 2 together and like, oh, Alex can host some, an Apex night where he goes ham in his favorite battle royale. And yeah, I hosted my first session in this hopefully long-running series this past Monday, and it went quite well. Season 8 of Apex is not as different from some of the prior seasons as I thought it would be. The new map that they introduced is a destroyed version of King's Canyon, which is like the first map that was introduced into the series. But by destroyed, it just means that a couple of areas have been slightly reworked. It's not like that substantially different. Yeah. By the way, I just want to quickly comment and say that I'm a little bit jittery tonight because while many things have changed in the pandemic on a macro scale, some things have changed on a micro scale as well, including in my case, me actually quite enjoying the taste of coffee. And I've not actually had anything else to eat tonight except for coffee. So if I seem like I'm a little bit scattered, even more so than usual, now you know why.
What time are you waking up these days?
I woke up.
What time are you waking up these days?
Yeah, I've been trying hard over the past couple of weeks to get up earlier rather than later. Yesterday, I was able to get up at around like 11:30-ish. Today I got up at around 1:30. So a bit of a drop off compared to yesterday, but yeah.
It's fair. I mean, yeah, I think if you had the coffee like even earlier in the day, by this point in the night it would be wearing off and you'd feel less jittery. So I don't know, maybe that's a goal you could have a, you know, wake up with the sun, have a good what is it, circadian rhythm. That
I think that sounds right. That sounds smart.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
I used to work the night shift, and it was a nightmare for that sort of thing. Like I would I had a Fitbit just so it would keep, you know, track my heart rate, but specifically my sleep. And that was very, very difficult to keep up with, for sure.
I should mention, by the way, that the Apex Legends stream that I had on Monday and the current stream that we're hosting right here, right now, these are both very special streams because they are the first two streams that are being done back with my computer. You might recall how our first live stream into 2021, everything was going all great. Everything was going all chipper. It was just a brand new world for us to grasp in the palms of our hands. And then things catastrophically crashed in the middle of that episode, and we had to, you know, quickly scrap together the barest ghost of a resemblance of an episode for the rest of that. I finally managed to order a new PSU because it would seem like a PSU was what was beguiling me previously, and computers functioning okay. So expect a higher quality streams from here on out.
I'm just glad you can get back to running the show and I can get back to hosting it, because God, I missed hosting the show. And I don't have a segue for this, but I have show and tell.
Oh,
ooh. Okay, so, I mean, I know it's the romance episode, but keep it in your pants. We don't want to get banned on Twitch just yet.
You don't want to see my Squirtle?
Okay, maybe I want to see your Squirtle. Show me your Squirtle.
All right, I'll show you my Squirtle. So recently, the Pokemon company started. They now have a Canadian shipping option from their store, Pokemon Center. So let me I got to tinker with this a little bit so it's a little easier to see. Turn this off.
Got to tinkle with it?
I got to tinker because I got this lovely set of Pixel, like Sprite, Squirtle, like the Squirtle Evolution line Sprite pins, which is nice.
That's awesome.
I got this Dreepy plush. Dreepy being a ghost dragon type from the latest generation of games. I love the design. It's super cute.
Never heard of it.
Dreepy there. It's awesome. Have you not played the Swords and the Shields?
No, I just never got around to it.
Do it. It's great. I got this little guy who's great. It's part of their Sitting Cuties line. It's a Croconaw. It sits upright. Great. I love it. It's so
my favorite starter.
All right, hot takes, but it's fine. And as I stand up, for those watching, I've got this Lugia shirt, which is really cool. Love it. So yeah, I went kind of ham on their stores. I'm like, I deserve to treat myself. We've been in quarantine for almost a year now, and I wanted something nice, and that something nice was Pokemon stuff.
Did they have any merch in the store? I'm forgetting. Oh, the name of the Pokemon is TJ's Hog.
Okay, so no, they didn't.
God damn it! I tried.
So for those who don't know, I've been playing Pokemon Radical Red on my streams, and I'm letting my audience name the Pokemon. And someone thought TJ's Hog would be funny.
It's pretty funny. There's a lot of good clips of you talking about TJ's Hog.
I know, and I hate it. I hate it so much. But yeah, you guys done any retail therapy to kind of get yourself through the cold winter months here in Canada?
I mean, I feel like it's a weird question to ask me because I order things like online all the time. Like I have parcels coming from Amazon, coming from Indigo, the bookseller, coming from like all manners of vendors, like to my doorstep every single week. So I don't even really view it as like retail therapy. It's just, well, this is just my way of life. I can't really remember the last game. Actually, you know what? I mean, this actually kind of ties into one of the things I was going to bring up on the show today. I did recently purchase Link's Awakening via Amazon.
All right, tell us a little bit about Link's Awakening then.
Yeah, I mean, Link's Awakening. So the original version of the game was a game that I played many a time back in the day. It's one of those games where like you would beat it and then, you would give it a few weeks and you just sort of play it all over again from front to back. So I was very familiar with this game going into it, and so far it's been a good, fun time. One of the things that this remake was criticized of when it first came out 2 years ago is that it aspects of its design don't hold up super well. It is a little bit dated. It is a little bit confusing or needlessly obtuse in certain parts in terms of what it is that you need to do. And I fully acknowledge that I'm only able to figure out what to do in certain instances because I have that, ingrained muscle memory from my previous times playing the game. But otherwise, it's what a charming, fun little experience. We've obviously talked about this game a fair bit on the podcast in the past. I know Nathan obviously is very fond of this game. What about you two guys?
I do want to just quickly interrupt this conversation as we have breaking news. A couple hours before this show, it was rumored that Mahershala Ali was going to be cast in the HBO series The Last of Us. But Collider has actually just reported, in Kozi, I dropped a link in the chat if you want it. They've cast their Ellie.
Oh,
Ellie has been cast for the Last of Us HBO series. Game of Thrones star Bella Ramsey has been cast in the role of Ellie. Bella Ramsey, known for portraying Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones. So there you go. That's a great Ellie casting.
That's a great choice. Yeah, absolutely.
Young enough that she can grow into the role, but yeah. Bella Ramsey cast as Ellie in The Last of Us. So Link's Awakening, to pivot back. I never played the original. I did play the Switch game when it came out, and I loved it. I thought it was a really, really fun time. I love the art style they went with. Just overall, ton of fun.
Cool. I'm glad. It seemed the impression I get from the way you just described it is that you didn't really have a lot of difficulty figuring out where to go, what to do. It was kind of pretty easy for you. For the most part, I used guides. Oh, okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using a guide, obviously, to be clear. But
that's why I admit fully to it. It's the kind of game that I'm not going to want to bang my head against the same tree 73,000 times to figure out if this one hole is the one that creates the thing that does the thing. So I followed a guide when I hit blockers, but for the most part, it was pretty straightforward. I really liked it.
Yeah, for me, Link's Awakening, it was one of my first Zeldas, especially on the Game Boy. I had the DX for the color specifically, which I never beat it or anything, and then I got it on the Switch, and it's absolutely beautiful. I just, for some reason, just fell right off it. I don't know if there's something about like top-down Zeldas specifically that just doesn't quite do it for me. But I absolutely love Zelda. It's one of my favorite game franchises ever. It's just I think Zelda means like 3D to me, especially these days, and those are the ones that I tend to attach myself to the most.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a world in which you might stream Link's Awakening just to commit to it in a public forum?
To commit to it right now, no, but I could see an absolute avenue of doing that. But I mean, also I've got sitting behind me here, somewhere on my couch, I've got the GameCube versions of Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, which also have Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 on it, I believe.
They do.
And then the Master Quest version of Ocarina of Time as well. And a Wind Waker and a Twilight Princess behind me. So all for the GameCube, which I'm really into playing at the moment. So I would say that might be a little more likely, but anything's possible.
I was just going to say, because I've got a copy of Link's Awakening that's got your name on it for the Switch if you want to give it a shot. But tell us a little bit more about what you've been playing on the GameCube.
Yeah, no, I've got a copy of that digitally. Okay. That's when So I appreciate the offer though. On the GameCube, I've been I mentioned last week that I've been streaming on my own channel, twitch.tv/timeshero, and I've been having a lot of fun with it actually, and it's frustrating at times. I'm playing it. So when I was a kid growing up, I would play it on I would play it on normal, not normal, very easy, because I didn't want a challenge. I just wanted to take my favorite game characters and make them fight, right? So I would just play it on very easy. So I'm challenging myself. I'm playing it on normal because I would not survive melee in like very hard or anything like that. In Smash Ultimate, I can fight a level 9 NPC character, but not necessarily do well.
Right.
But I've been having a lot of fun, actually, primarily with a lot of the stuff around streaming. In that, I've set up my like new follower alerts and stuff like that, and I played around with the colors and made that. Played around with like the colors of that. Uploaded my own GIFs. I even like took like a music video. I don't know if you're familiar with the song "Give Up the Grudge" by Gob.
Shut your mouth. Well,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna get too much into it, but I freaking love that song, dude.
Yeah, it's such a good song. So I took all the I downloaded the music video off YouTube, and I cut out all the scenes of not the band, right? And whittled it down to about a 14-second clip or something of when the two groups of people are clashing are just running together and clashing, and then it becomes a dance. And I figured that's a good one. That's a good GIF to have pop up when I get raided, which has happened twice already. So that I've been streaming, which is nice. But yeah, I've been having fun tweaking with that stuff. And I know we were talking just before the show about the voice meter banana and stuff like that. I downloaded it, I installed it. That thing is a goddamn nightmare.
It's the worst. I've gotten it to a point where I've got my Discord.
You got to wrap your heads around it. Eventually, at some point, I'm going to send you the master document of all the scene collections that you need to run this show from home in all its glory and functionality. And you need to understand it. It's not that difficult. Just watch a 12-minute YouTube tutorial and then watch another one to make sure you fully get it.
Yeah, but okay.
But I've still broken my audio like 3 times trying to get that working. I've got it to a point where I can get my mic and my Discord split out from everything else, so I can mute those independently. And at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm not touching a goddamn thing. It works. Don't make me do anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I know for me personally, if I wouldn't, okay, so before we started the show, right, when we were on the just starting screen on Twitch, we had to hear the audio from your computer, which is the same music that was playing over the Twitch stream, just in the starting soon screen, right? Mm-hmm. And it's good for being able to separate all those audio channels, but I would like the added layer of control of being able to tell where all those audio channels can go. So, for example, you only want that music playing out on Twitch. I don't want to hear it anywhere else on my PC. I don't need it to go out to my Discord call or anything like that. That's the level of control. Like, ADHD is fucking nuts, and for me it's either I need all or I need nothing. So it's I need all the control over that aspect of it, and it needs to be straightforward and simple, or I just don't put me in charge of any of it. That's just me, though.
It happens to all of us. Speaking of streams, a couple of weeks ago, I did my big birthday stream. It's where I shaved my face. So if you're back here for the first time in a bit, it's a lot shorter, and that's why it's coming back. It's coming back.
It's looking good.
Starting to grow in. It's more than 5 o'clock shadow. Something else I promised was I would play Demon Souls. So I did that. I did it. I played Demon Souls on stream. I actually really liked it.
Wow.
It's a good looking game. I beat my head against this friggin' monitor a number of times.
I want to apologize if I besmirch either of you asking this, but I don't believe that have we talked extensively about the two of you's experience with the Soulsborne games?
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay, because I was wondering, like, what exactly is your experience with From Software's titles?
This is my first.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I hadn't touched the series before. I mean, technically, I played like I got up to the first enemy in Bloodborne, and it killed me, and I got mad, and I quit.
Right, and Bloodborne was a PlayStation Plus game, so I'm assuming that you played it through that.
That's how I got it.
So did you just straight up buy Demon Souls New?
Through avenues, yes.
Okay.
But it was made available to me to play, so I decided to do that. And it's hella hard, but I actually had quite a lot of fun learning the mechanics, understanding the systems. I had some great friends in the chat helping me out, new friends even that found it just from, newbie plays Demon Souls, and made it. I beat my first boss on stream, and I only died like 3 times against the boss. So I was pretty impressed.
The boss, because I know this total death counter that's on screen right now is going to go up in a little bit.
Oh yeah. I think I ended the stream at 16 deaths, which honestly, for my first time playing a FromSoft game, not terrible? Question mark?
Yeah, that's what
I kept hearing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it might get a night in my streaming rotation. I think it's going to be one I stick with. It's hella hard, but I had a lot of fun just understanding the mechanics. It's almost like a puzzle game at certain points of you continue to build this muscle memory of knowing, okay, this enemy's here, because you're constantly dying and respawning. And it's almost got that one more run kind of twitchy action game vibe to it. Of you just know you can make it a little bit further if you just try that one more time.
Have you heard of the term combat puzzles?
That's almost what it feels like, honestly. I haven't heard of that, but that's a perfect way to describe it.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely a thing in games and game design. It's like when you have typical combat, like a lot of the scenarios that, the developers will hand pick for you, they, the enemy placement isn't, usually just random. It's like, no, we're going to throw this many enemies at you. Think of it like in a D&D campaign, the DM, right? They're going to balance it specifically for your party, right? So that, you have a chance to fight, but you do have a chance to fail as well. So
I'm happy
you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mitch, I'm happy that you seem to be really into this game and that hypothetically, possibly, potentially, maybe you might even get around to fully beating it. We'll see.
Let's not go that far. I'm going to hit a wall with this game. I can already sense it, but it's one I'm going to stick with for a bit.
Hypothetically, possibly. So you might remember how I was playing this game for a minute back in 2020. I stopped playing it because I got killed by an enemy that was not particularly powerful, but in the process of getting killed, I ended up losing a lot of the herbs that were in my inventory, and I was like, I don't really want to go back and grind for more herbs. And it's like, I think that this game is extremely solid. I think that, its qualities are like undeniable. I do think, though, that some of From Software's latter games, I think, distill what this game does just a little bit better. And the sense that I get is Blue Point did a phenomenal job with the remaster or remake, whatever I think it's
a remaster, not a remake.
Yeah.
You think? Yeah.
They didn't change much to the core game.
It feels modern. There's just pieces of it that don't. Like the camera sucks.
Yeah.
Some of the hit detection's off just a bit. But overall, I'm having a blast. We'll see how long it lasts, but I'm going to stick with it for a bit. In
my case, it wasn't even like the camera or the hit detection stuff. It was just traveling through the first area of Demon Souls. I'm like, I feel like I've seen versions of these levels before, having played Dark Souls 1, 2, and Bloodborne, but kind of just done a little bit better. And so, right. But I mean, if this is, what gets you into the Soulsborne games, I mean, all the merrier. All the more merrier.
I think once I get a PS5, I might have to give it a shot myself, because my experience with a FromSoft or Souls game is I have it on Steam, the not Demon Souls but Dark Souls. No, Dark Souls, and I booted it up, got it working, and was playing it. And like, there's the first boss in Dark Souls, which is supposed to be like a tutorial boss, right? I went in with the right mindset. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew I just had to be patient, right? And for a new player, like for an experienced player, it is actually possible to beat the first boss in the tutorial world of Dark Souls. And for a new player, it should be fairly difficult. But I was in like the right mindset that I got it to work, and I did it, and I beat that boss. But then, everything kind of went to shit as soon as I was out in the main world. I had no idea what to do, and it was completely, in my opinion, like almost unapproachable. Right. To where like the real story of the real Dark Souls, if you will, is the friends you make online along the way.
I was I was like, man, it'd be really funny if AJ said the friends you made along the way, and then you actually said it.
You're welcome.
Speaking about games that are unapproachable, that's how I feel about Yakuza. But AJ, you been giving it a shot?
Yeah. So I woke up early Sunday morning and it's a good decision, I think, to start Yakuza. Bad decision to start a game that you actually kind of want to play on stream, because then you only want to stream it, and if you can't necessarily make the time to stream it, you don't necessarily want to play. And if it's one of those, like, I want to play. This is a game that you kind of want to play in like 4-hour chunks, like I did on Sunday. The clip on screen right now is me playing a mini game of walking into an arcade and actually playing the original Outrun by Sega. But I'm finding the game to be actually super fun. I'm playing it with Japanese audio, because that's the only way to play, really. It's Yakuza 0. So it's the start of the Yakuza story, but before that happened. So they're out on Game Pass, which is really what pushed me over the edge to do this. So I installed it on my PC and got it up and running, and it seemed to perform pretty well on stream, and so I kind of stuck with it. Really, it was mostly a test to just see how well my PC could handle doing both at once. Right. Because I have, when I was originally setting up my stream layout and everything, I did kind of run into issues with that, but everything seemed to pretty well work out for the most part. But honestly, all it does right now is just make me want to go back to Japan.
Yeah.
So bad.
I was going to say, looking at that bit of footage earlier, I feel like it is only inevitable before I get into the series myself, because I am very nostalgic for my time that I spent in Japan, and watching him, like, even just small details like the sign that says employees only in the back of that arcade that what's his name walked into. Like, it's all just so nostalgic and something that really kind of takes me back. And so, yeah, the only problem
just make me want to go to Japan for the first time.
Oh, man. And once you go to Japan for the first time, you're going to get back and you're going to be like, hey, where should we go next? And you're going to be like, we should go back to Japan, because it's going to ruin the rest of the planet for you.
What I'm thinking, Press YYZ 2022 World Tour. We hit up Disneyland Japan, Tokyo Disney. Who's with me?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah. Let's go to Hogwarts in Japan.
Were you expecting us to be like, no?
Nintendo Land will be open there by that point.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kozi, go ahead.
I was going to say, were you asking that question because you were expecting somebody to say no? Like, totally.
No, I just want to be able to go, and I need more excuses to give my wife as to why we should go to Japan.
Hell yeah.
But speaking about me,
I do want to hold on a second, Mitch, before you transition. I do want to say, AJ, like, the one thing that I think it makes me hesitate from embracing the Yakuza series is that I'm uncertain at this point which game I should start with. Did you start with Yakuza 0 because you're like, chronologically, this is the first game in the series, so it makes most sense to start here?
Yeah, so that's my logic. The Yakuza 1 originally came out on PS2, and they've remade it essentially, right, and remade it, remastered it, whatever it is, with Yakuza Kiwami.
Right.
And so I figure, well, all of these are in Game Pass right now. Let's start from the beginning, and if I like it, then I'll make my way forward. You look online and you hear people who say, oh, you should start with the most recent one because it's going to be whatever, and you're going to need to put 50, 60 hours into it maybe, or whatnot. But I just decided, well, technically Yakuza 0 is a more recent one, because it did come out later. It takes place in like 1988, I believe. And I don't think there's a wrong way to approach Yakuza. It's just you have to kind of go in knowing what you're getting yourself into. To an extent, in certain aspects, I'm reminded. Maybe it's just because it's Japanese. I don't know. I'm slightly reminded of Shenmue. In terms of there's a bunch of like all these mini games that you can play. So I was playing Outrun there, and then I went over to a crane game, and I got friggin' addicted to the crane game, popping in, 100 yen coin after 100 yen coin, and just I get 3 tries to use the crane game and stuff. It's just there's something magical about it, and the fact that so far the story isn't too bonkers that you can't wrap your head around. It's, hey, there's a Japanese mafia called the Yakuza, and you're kind of in a gang like situation, and the story goes on that, hey, something happened, but your guy was framed or something like that, and you got to figure out who really did it, because now the cops are sniffing out the Yakuza, and that's a bad thing to have for the Yakuza. So I just did a poor job of explaining the story of it, but you get the gist. It's good. It's good. It's good. At the very least, because it's on Game Pass, pick one, start there, and boot it up, and just kind of goes. But I recommend Yakuza 0 because it's the one I played. It's good, and it's the start of the story.
Gotcha.
Speaking of the start of something new, Kozi.
Yeah.
You've been working on a little something.
I've been working on a lot of things.
I'm talking specifically about your next game in core, Doggy Dog.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so like there's not exactly, I don't have heaven and hell to talk about this game just yet, but yeah, you might remember how last year I got into Core, which is a video game creation platform in the same vein as things like Dreams, for example, on the PlayStation 4, or Roblox for those who game exclusively on PC. The first game that I made in Core was part of the like Kind of Funny / Core game jam, and it was Planet of the Toilet Toads. It was a third-person kind of team-based shooter where you were battling toads and trying to capture points. And from there, I moved on to a couple of like single-player experiences. After taking a bit of a break, I decided, you know what? Time to boot up the old Core engine and start working on my next experience. And I'm not ready to talk just yet in specifics about what it's going to entail, but I can say it is something that I personally am very passionate about. I feel like I landed on something that is going to keep me motivated to work on it for the next little while, and I hope that y'all look forward to it, because it makes it that much better when I know that other people are looking forward to it and will actually play it, and I didn't spend the 100+ hours working on these games for naught. So yeah,
you might not be able to talk. You might not. Sorry.
That was a very roundabout way of saying, hey guys, I'm working on a new core game. I don't have much to say. Toodaloo.
All right, you might not have much to say about that, but I got a lot to say about WandaVision. AJ, have you been watching WandaVision? I know Kozi has. Have you been watching?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! No spoilers.
I was
No
going to say, we're going to do our
here.
best to avoid spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, just take off your headphones for like
we can obviously
5
put
minutes.
up the Mitch. You're forgetting that we're broadcasting from my computer now, which means that we can activate spoiler mode.
But that doesn't
we
work
can.
for the audio listeners out there.
I mean, we just gave them enough of a heads up in the last 30 seconds.
Actually,
I don't want to. Whenever the spoilers, I know.
Whenever the spoiler warning graphic goes up, a sound effect plays, and that sound effect will appear in my podcast recording. So actually, the audio listeners will. I mean, but, well, I get your point, which is that they won't know when the thing is over, even if they do know when it begins.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get into heavy spoilers because I know at least earlier my mom was in the chat and I know her and my sister are watching it, so we're not going to spoil WandaVision. But oh my god, how good is WandaVision?
Oh my god, it's so good.
We're getting like a 6-hour Marvel movie. It's great.
It's been, if you just follow the news headlines of Disney and their acquisitions, this sort of thing that most recently happened.
No, we're not getting into that. No, stop right there.
It's exciting.
Everything that Disney is doing right now is exciting.
Guys, I feel like everybody that's listening to this stream already knows what it is, all right?
Maybe.
No, because if my mom and sister are, my sister
if there's anybody that's currently watching the stream has not watched episode 5 of WandaVision yet, let us know in the chat.
We're not spoiling it. We're not going to spoil it. And the three of us, if we want, we can just stay on after and talk about all the spoilers. But if you are not, you are doing yourself a disservice by not watching this show every week as soon as it goes up so the internet doesn't spoil it for you. It's something that cannot be missed. If you're at all an MCU fan, if you were turned off by the sitcom format of the first couple of episodes, stick with it through at least episode 4 is what I would say.
Also, if you were turned off by those sitcom episodes, you don't deserve the last 2 good episodes. So I'll be perfectly honest. They were great.
I've talked about this a little bit on Twitter. I was not. I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy the first few episodes of the show, but I think, really reflecting on it in retrospect, I think what kind of annoyed me about those first few episodes is that they presented this great mystery of, what exactly is going on? Why are Wanda and Vision trapped in this odd, temporarily displaced reality? And I feel like I was just kind of bored the entire time because the answer
it's not
to
even
that
clear
question,
initially. It's not even clear it's another reality, right? It just looks like a sitcom. There's nothing that really breaks that.
In a nutshell, I think I was bored early on a lot because I just felt like the questions that the show was asking were neither interesting to me, nor did I feel like the answers to them were incredibly confusing. I'm like, well, I feel like it's kind of obvious what's going on here. And I will say, one thing that I really did like about the most recent episode of the show is I feel like we've gotten to a point where I genuinely am like, I feel like anything can kind of happen. We've seen footage from trailers that indicate some events that have yet to occur, but for the most part, I feel like we're kind of in uncharted territory, and that makes me very excited. Whereas before it was kind of I can kind of see the direction that this is going, and I feel like there's no real kind of surprise, or at least in my case, interesting speculation to be had. But that's just me.
There have been characters introduced at this point in the show that were not in any of the promotional materials, and it makes it very exciting to know that, okay, if they were hiding things from us up until episode 4, episode 5, what are they hiding in the back half of this series? What is still to come? Because we got WTF moments already, but what is still to come? Something is going to happen.
It was, and
really, I'm so fucking excited, dude.
And also, to your point, Kozi, of you kind of knew what was going to happen. You could kind of see what was going to happen. Yes, but if you took it the next step further, what is happening? That is something we don't know. And actually, something that I found that, like, I'm too far gone. I can't stop now. But watching all the like, I've got 3 different YouTube channels who all do recaps. There's like, new rock stars, all that stuff.
Kind of Funny does theirs.
Yeah, Kind of Funny does theirs. I'll watch their recap. But like the new rock stars,
friend of the show, Nate Plays Games. If you aren't already, check out the Geek Centric podcast. They're doing week by week recaps, and they're a ton of fun. Oh hell yeah! They may be having a guest later on this season that you'd want to listen for.
No, probably not. Honestly,
probably not. To be frank, I don't know why you asked.
But no, like I've actually found that all those YouTube videos, in a way, are, oh, here's what could happen because these are the comics that they're pulling from, and it's just like, fuck. Is it spoiled for me now? Could it? Is it spoiled for me now? I don't know. And now I'm.
Because honestly, I think we're at a point with the MCU in general. Like, I would go see those movies the first day they came out, Thursday night, 7:00, and then immediately jump on Reddit and see what everyone else thought, all the theories, all the speculation. And now we're getting that every goddamn week with this. We get a week off after this, and we get right into Falcon and Winter Soldier. We get some indeterminate time off between the end of this in April and Loki starting in May. Black Widow is supposed to come out in there. It's probably not. Like, we're getting 4 Marvel movies this year and like 6 series. So movies, we're getting Black Widow, we're getting Shang-Chi, we're getting Eternals, and we're getting the 3rd Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland. Those are all scheduled for 2021. Obviously, things are going to move around because of the pandemic. Disney Plus, we have WandaVision, we're getting Falcon Winter Soldier, we're getting Loki, we're getting Marvel's What If, we're getting Miss Marvel, and we're getting Hawkeye this year. That is 10 MCU properties in the calendar year 2021. And after such a drought, just pump it all directly into my veins. I need it all. And in, I think, 2 weeks, Disney's dropping a ton of content on Disney Plus under a new banner. They're bringing a ton of their Fox content and Hulu content in Canada under the Star banner. And if you haven't already, PSA, go sign up for a year of Disney Plus because it's going to go up. But you can lock in at this rate for the next year. And I'm so happy.
Yeah, WandaVision's very good.
If you're not caught up on the MCU, get caught up, watch WandaVision. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Right. No one's got anything else they want to touch. I think for the first time in 6 months, we're going to get to the topic of the show before the first hour of the show's up.
I feel like we did it last week or got pretty close.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't mention it previously in this episode, but I did finally platinum Knack. It's platinum 175.
How'd that go?
Let me tell you.
Was it a good platinum?
Would you recommend the Knack Platinum to all our fans out there?
Tell me more about the Knack Plat.
I would recommend the Knack Platinum only if you're a really determined and dedicated gamer that is willing to really level up their platforming skills. It's this platinum took a long time, and it really kind of forced me to kind of hone my skills and pay attention to enemies in ways that I typically don't when I play a lot of these games. So, I mean, look, I've played platinums that are definitely way worse than this one, but I can't say that I'm going to remember this one fondly at the same time.
Fair. That's a shame. I was actually looking through my catalog, and I'm going to have to get some advice from you, Kozi, but I might go back and try to platinum the Kingdom Hearts games.
So when you say the Kingdom Hearts games, you mean 1, 2? Are you referring to Birth by Sleep? Which ones are we talking about?
I want to try to get them all. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think I'm just going to go one by one.
Are you talking?
That might be a goal of mine for this year.
Are you specifically referring to the PlayStation 4 versions of some of the older games? Okay.
Yep.
I was going to mention you should probably stick to the PlayStation 4 versions because the PlayStation 3 releases of them feature trophy lists that force you to play through some of the games multiple times unnecessarily. There was stuff hey, you have to beat the game on normal, you have to beat the game on proud, which is
the difficult. I was reading today the difficulty trophies will stack if you play on higher difficulty. So that's good.
Whereas the PlayStation 4 versions of the games allowed difficulty trophies to stack in that regard. Yeah, it's the good news is that with a few small exceptions here and there are not a lot of not difficulty trophies, but how to say missable trophies.
Hard to achieve. Yeah.
There are not a lot of missable trophies. There are a lot of things that are pretty difficult to get through, but yeah, they're attainable. But you definitely do give me another consultation before you jump into any of them, because I can give you some pointers.
I mean, I've beaten them before, and I'm sure it's going to be something I do off stream and follow a trophy guide, just because I love that world. I love it. For me, it's less about the Kingdom Hearts world, and it's more about just I want to jump back into these Disney properties in a different way. Sure. I feel like if I play them, that Carmen might actually enjoy watching me play them because of all the Disney stuff, because we're both Disney nuts. Going back to our MCU talk and the Disneyland talk. So it might just be something we could do together, which would be nice. But we'll see. But I think in the meantime, while AJ continues to pee, we can get on to explaining what we're doing for our topic of the show.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
All right. So for those new around here, we're going to play a game called Top Tier, where we're going to take our idea and make a tier list out of it, basically. We're going to collaborate on it. We're going to take some feedback from the chat if you got any. So please, if you have any ideas about what we got, then be sure to drop them there. And if not, we took suggestions on Twitter. So if you're not, go ahead and follow us over at twitter.com/Press YYZ. Or the next time we do this, hopefully we can elicit some feedback from even more of you. What we are doing today is we are going to build a top tier list of the best video game relationships. We're going to take all these, rank them on a scale of, what is it, D through S? So like D rank, C rank, B, A, S rank. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some fun conversations. I can't talk on everything on this list, thankfully. So hopefully we all have something to say on a little something, something. And we can talk about which video game relationships we feel are the best representations of relationships in games. Sound good?
Hell yeah.
All right, Kozi, you're running the board. So if you want to tell us what we're going to talk about, and then we can kind of just, have the discussion from there.
Yeah, sure. So in case you've never been to tiermaker.com, we have ourselves our blank tier waiting to be filled with all sorts of meaningful choices. And we have our choices down here. We have Chell and the Companion Cube from Portal 1 and 2. We have Ellie and Dina from The Last of Us Part 2. Definitely did not forget her companion's name. We have Vincent and Catherine with a C. Now, I know that when we were planning out the show, it was like Catherine with a C and Catherine with a K. Are we just sticking with... I just grabbed the first image. You can talk about all the Catherines you want. I really don't care. Okay.
Talk about Catherine with a Y.
We'll figure it out when we get to it. Here we have... obviously
Wario
that's
and Bowsette, which was Nathan's suggestion. He knew he couldn't be on the show, but that's what he wanted to contribute. So we can have fun with that one.
I have some thoughts on that, but we'll wait until we get there. We have the shoulder of what appears to be a character from Gears of War, and
we have Dom and his wife Maria from Gears of War.
There we go. We have Geralt of Rivia and Yennefer. Because the problem is that there's Yennefer and then there's the other
Triss.
one, Triss. And I was like, it's going to be one or the other. And
isn't Triss like his daughter? Again, I'm not.
You're thinking of Ciri.
Sure.
Cirilla.
Okay.
We have Link and Zelda. Pretty straightforward there. We have Mario and Peach in like a state of undress that I was not expecting you could find in an image on the internet.
Google's weird, guys.
We have Chief and Cortana. Pretty straightforward there. We have Chloe and Max from Life is Strange, Season 1. We have Nathan Drake and Elena. We have Sora and Kairi from Kingdom Hearts.
Getting back to that Kingdom Hearts talk, baby. Series. Let's go!
And we have Yuna and what's-his-face from Final Fantasy
Titus.
Titus. The problem is that Titus appears in the Kingdom Hearts series as well. So I should actually, like, of any Final Fantasy character, I should especially know him, but,
I feel like everyone knows FF7 and then fall off a cliff from there. I know that's me. That's why I'm gonna have nothing to say about those two.
All right. So do we want to start in order?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Let's talk about Portal 1 and Portal 2's Chell and the Companion Cube. I feel like this is like a C tier, to be honest. I feel like relationships, like this relationship feels like it's a little bit too one-sided. And even there, it's like, do we actually know that Chell cares that much for her companion cube?
It's at least 6-sided, Kozi.
Because it's a cube. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, this relationship is a little forced, but at the point in the game where you meet where you are gifted essentially your companion cube, you do form a bit of an attachment. At least the first one. I'm thinking more so of the first one. I'm forgetting when you meet the companion cube in the second one.
Yeah. I think a
lot of tragedy in this relationship as well, which I think gives it a bit of a bump.
Yeah.
I'd say probably like a nice. I'm okay with C, but I could bump it as high as B.
I can see it be at B as well. So it's kind of a two-way relationship if you really think about it, because you got to use the companion cube to complete puzzles, and the companion cube wants to complete puzzles but can't do it alone. So together, Chell and the companion cube are kind of, are kind of important in that regard.
Bit of a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, they a little bit of give, a little bit of take on both ends.
Yeah, I
don't know. I'll leave this ultimately to Kozi.
Yeah, I'm fine putting it at B. I mean, it makes for a very kind of meaningful gameplay moment when you first encounter the cube, use it and its various puzzles, and then are eventually forced to sacrifice it, or do you? ... And so for that reason, I feel like perhaps C was a little bit unfair, but I can't see it going any higher.
Well, regardless, this was a triumph.
There we go.
Success.
Lots of jokes today. All right.
Ellie
and Dina from The Last of Us Part 2.
I think. Okay, so I don't remember how much of this specifically we spoke about in our spoiler cast episode of The Last of Us Part 2. But, we won't get into those game spoilers here. But I think...
Again, we can put up spoiler warning mode if we want to.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it right now. Not for this. We're not going to get into it.
One of these days, I'm going to show up to the podcast as the personification of the spoiler warning mode button on my Stream Deck. And I'm just going to give you guys unbelievable shit for not wanting to use me. Just a heads up.
I think great costume for Halloween. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah,
Ellie and Dina.
By Halloween, though, this whole joke will probably be over. Either the
but that's why you bring it back from the dead.
On Halloween of all days. Think about it. That's a perfect day.
Will Halloween even exist in like October of 2021?
Who can say? Will we?
If they get the vaccines out in time.
Ellie and Dina.
Ellie and Dina.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I mean, I feel like you got to put it A tier. I feel like the very final scene of The Last of Us Part 2 does sort of call into question how highly we should rank this relationship, depending on, how you interpret that one last scene, whether you think that the relationship is as steadfast as it's presented as being throughout the game.
Does it need to be a steadfast relationship to rank higher? Because I think the emotional impact of that scene, one way or another, for me, could bump it as high as an S tier. I think this relationship was phenomenal. I think you get a ton of really fun, cute moments throughout the game that are sprinkled in amongst all this chaos and carnage and terrible things that they both have to go through, both as a couple and individually. I would rank it super high, but that's more so me. AJ, how are you feeling?
I just want to interject quickly and say
it
definitely gets bonus points for, from a technical visual voice acting perspective, being one of the most lifelike and believable relationships of all the relationships on this list. obviously Naughty Dog doesn't miss in that regard. So definitely need to shut that out.
Absolutely. There were some, I don't feel comfortable necessarily saying missteps, but some questionable, very blunt moments in regards to their relationship being two women, especially right at the beginning there. Bigot sandwich. So that stuff notwithstanding, I think the chemistry between Dina and Ellie, as you explore and especially as you like find a guitar and play songs and stuff, and the way that they build the tension there, and then to kind of see it all pay off at the end, or does it? Who can say?
Question mark?
Maybe. Their journey was phenomenal to take part in and to watch, and I appreciated every moment of it. So.
You mentioned the guitar. There were a lot of people in the wake of The Last of Us Part 2's release that actually took up playing the guitar, if briefly, including friend of the show, Taylor Lyles. I remember she tweeted out about that. I don't know if that's like specifically something we can attribute to their relationship or something that we have to attribute to just Ellie alone, but worth pointing that out.
It can be a factor for sure, because like those moments and the way they're the way their relationship is presented in the game is so it gets you so emotionally invested, and it's all centered around love songs to an extent. So I think it absolutely should be way high up there. I think, me personally, I think I would put it at an S rank. That's just me.
I feel like I'm still leaning a little bit more towards A rank, so I think you're going to be the deciding factor, Mitch.
I already said S rank, so put her up on the board.
Here we go.
There we go.
It's S rank time.
All right. Next up is Vincent / Catherine with a C. So the thing about this is that, like I said earlier, going into this, I was anticipating that we would be ranking like the various different kinds of relationships that Vincent has in Catherine, the video game. And so like, I feel a little bit disappointed to just rank the Catherine with a C relationship, because I feel like appropriately, I thought we said this was just going to it. This can encompass all the relationships. I think don't limit it just to the one Catherine.
If it is all the relationships, and I don't really know where to put it, because like I feel like Catherine with a C and Catherine with a K make for two very different kinds of relationships. Even when we get to the end of both of them, and both couples are like in relatively content positions in their lives. AJ, I actually have not. I don't know. Have you played Catherine?
I have not played Catherine. I have heard like the story around Catherine and like what it entails. And, a friend of mine, when he was in a previous relationship, was not allowed to play it because his girlfriend heard what it was about.
Really?
So they are no longer together.
I was going to say, I don't think they're going to be in a relationship very long if that were the case.
They are no longer together. So, I do know like some of the questionable relationship, like, is it a good, healthy relationship sort of situation as it pertains to the different Catherines and whatnot. So yeah, that's about all I know.
I haven't touched this game, so this is on you, Kozi.
I mean, the thing about both Vincent's relationship with Catherine with a K and Catherine with a C, and also the new Catherine that was introduced in the full body remake of the game, Vincent is like the one constant in all three of those relationships. And I think, Vincent is a less than perfect video game protagonist. I once heard him described as a cool bum, and I think that's pretty appropriate. He's not a complete loser. There were some aspects of him that are like, oh man, you have a bit of swagger to you. But he is also somebody who is non-committal, somebody that, doesn't really know what he wants in life or what is good for the other people around him. And so for that reason, I feel like I'm gonna stick with my initial decision of putting him at a C. I think that all of the relationships that Vincent has with his various Catherines can end pretty well, but it's rough going along the way.
Is it C for Catherine?
I mean,
exactly.
That was the initial joke, but there's more logic to my choice than just that.
Yeah.
Can we immediately put Wario and Bowsette at a D rank and move on with our lives?
Can we change it to Wario and Waluigi? Can we, as a group, collectively do that? So, and decide that's what it's going to be?
Let's talk about Bowsette for a second. I quite like Bowsette.
Bowsette isn't a real thing.
I quite like Bowsette as a character. I thought that the initial, mimetic comic that spawned her existence was pretty funny, and I thought that a lot of the fan art that ensued was pretty great in its own right.
And the cosplay.
I don't really understand the pairing of Bowsette and Wario specifically. I feel like typically in most of the fan art that I saw of Bowsette back during her heyday, it was her paired with Mario, maybe paired with Princess Peach or Daisy or one of the other women from the Mushroom Kingdom. I do not really remember seeing many Bowsette and Wario pairings, unless my memory is hazier than I believe.
Same. I think it was kind of bullshit, which is why I still will say we should probably just as a group decide that no, this is going to be Wario and Waluigi.
This is what Nathan wanted when he could not join us tonight. I think it's dumb because Bowsette is not a real character. It is not canon within the Nintendo mythos. So I just say we immediately put it at D and move on with our life.
Is it possible that by Wario, Wario is meant to represent us, the online commenter, the online viewer, the online artist creating and consuming Bowsette?
Maybe, but it still doesn't make it a video game relationship.
I think the inclusion of Bowsette puts it higher on the list, but just out of principle. But the fact that it's just such a bad couple. It's right to question who even are these people? Why are they together? What is this, fan fiction? This isn't fan fiction. This is video games. This is real life. Come on, take it seriously.
This is real life video games, everybody.
I quite like Bowsette as a character, but I feel like because the pairing doesn't make sense,
I hate it.
We're gonna have to put it at D for the time being.
Thank you.
All right, Dom from Gears of War and his little wife Maria, correct?
Maria. Yep, you got it. One of the most heartbreaking relationships in all of video games.
So I should mention, I've not played Gears of War 2 before, but back in the day, I did remember watching IGN's Gears of War in 5 minutes video, so I know what direction this relationship goes in, and it's pretty sad.
Yeah, we'll do our best to avoid spoilers here, but there's a lot of tragedy in this universe, and I think it's best personified by the relationship between Dom and Maria. And
trying to I'm not trying to skirt around spoilers as much as possible. I remember back in the day that a criticism that people had of Gears of War 2 is that this relationship between Dom and Maria, while heartbreaking, was something that kind of came out of nowhere at the beginning of the game, that it wasn't really something that was touched on in Gears of War 1. Is that accurate, or is that something that you don't feel is totally fair?
So I believe in Gears of War 1, Dom mentions, the existence of his wife and stuff like that.
Sure.
And in Gears of War 2, it's, what's the phrase? You get to see a little bit. It becomes
more central to the plot.
To the plot, but you get to see more of Dom's side of the relationship, right? And it's a very good. He absolutely loves his wife. That there is no question there. right? And so they are probably technically in a good relationship. But as it's presented in the game, it just seems kind of like, yes, if you just focus on that point where of tragedy, and that being kind of like a sole focus of the game itself, it does kind of feel out of nowhere, and I feel like the turns they took with that was purely to try and humanize the game itself, which I don't think it necessarily was successful in. But if we're just looking at their relationship, Dom loves his wife a lot, but I think we have to consider more than that in this regard.
I want to rank it high, but it doesn't sound like that's where we're going. So that's okay.
I could see B.
I would take a B. I'd take a B.
Yeah, I'm fine ranking it there.
Want it higher, but I understand.
All right. Next up, we have Geralt of Rivia and
Geralt.
Nope. And Yennefer.
It's Geralt.
Not played the game.
RG animated GIF. Anyway.
Hails yeah. None of this GIF nonsense. That's a peanut butter.
Geralt and Yennefer.
Quick question. Did Yennefer make an appearance in Cyberpunk 2077?
I didn't finish it, so I don't believe so.
Me neither, and that sounds like a weird out of left field thing to happen. So
I remember
I'm gonna say no.
Back in the day, during the release of Witcher 3, I had read some article about how at some point midway through the game, Geralt, with a hard G, encounters one of his female friends, and she makes mention of how she traveled to like a weird world full of like neon colors and the like, and that led to
I do know
speculation, because Cyberpunk 2077 was announced at the time that, oh, you're going to encounter this character in 2077.
I do know the context of this in The Witcher 3. Ciri or Cirilla, okay, who is like your adoptive daughter, she does have some special powers that allow her to teleport, essentially, and to other dimensions. And from what I understand, really it was just sort of a throwaway Easter egg to allude to the other project they were working on, which was Cyberpunk, that she did, she may have, in her travels gone to the cyberpunk world somehow.
I don't like this.
Why?
Just too. I don't like when they get too meta on game universes or any universe for that. Well,
that's
matter.
the thing. I think they just did it was just a throwaway Easter egg that the internet kind of took and ran with it. So
in any case, Mitch, I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's not about either of the two people that we're supposed to be talking about. So, you okay, Mitch?
No, I've never played this game. Y'all can figure out where it wants to go on the list.
You should play The Witcher. Good. You should play The Witcher.
I tried, but old game is old.
No, it's not that old. It's 6 years old. Demon Souls is technically older.
I know, but it got remade or remastered.
All that to say, I don't really have much to say about this relationship. I brought up the Cyberpunk 2077 story to potentially inject some of my own thoughts into it, because I thought this was the same character in question, but it wasn't. So I don't have anything to say.
No, it was not this character in question. So the relationship between Geralt and Yennefer is pretty complicated. If you've watched the Netflix TV show, or if you've watched or read any of the books or anything like that, essentially Geralt and Yennefer are spellbound to be together, and there is an opportunity. You do get to make choices in The Witcher 3. There is an opportunity for you to make choices and kind of go on a quest to free her of the burden of being bound to being in love with you, which, if you really think about it, is the truest act of love. Not only does it set you free to kind of be able to do what you want and what you please with your heart or whatever, but you also set them free to choose to either be with you or not when they're effectively their hands were tied. So I think taking that context, Yennefer and Geralt, where people know them most at this point is from The Witcher 3, because so many people have played it. I think their relationship, you get to see the rough edges of Yennefer, who is a powerful witch and mage, and just she fights in her whatever this curse was put upon them. She fights it to an extent, right? And you get to see that come out, but in the end they love each other, but do they? And in my playthrough, after the fact, yes, technically they did. After the fact, because you let go. You could also choose not to let them separate and like not complete that quest or whatever. But love is hard. Love is complicated. It's a very good one of those.
You're telling me.
Yeah, I think it's good to be at an A rank personally. That's where I would put it.
Mitch, do you have any thoughts to share?
I'm disappointed it's going to A and Dom and Maria didn't, but it is what it is, and it ain't no more.
I will say it is interesting to hear about. So often we talk about video games giving you the option to be in a relationship with character XYZ. It is interesting to hear about a video game that gives you the option to not be in a relationship very definitively with this character. Mm-hmm. So I will say on a conceptual level, that gets a lot of points in my book.
Yeah, it's definitely a new take on it for sure in terms of a video game.
Next up, we have ourselves a classic relationship, Link and Zelda from the Legend of Zelda series. Where do we want to put it?
This is a terrible relationship.
Oh,
the
really?
Only
absolute terrible relationship.
Their souls are bound together for eternity for whatever friggin' reason, and really the only
they explain it in Skyward Sword explains it.
Yeah, the only one where they were really like potentially romantically involved at any point or like romantically interested in each other is Skyward Sword. Because everything else has just been, here's this random hero who shows up just because it's his destiny to help save the princess. The picture that you have there is from the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer.
It is.
And that is a good relationship between friends and partners, it seems to be. But as a romantic relationship...
We didn't say this list was restricted to just romantic relationships.
This is true. That's very true. If we want to expand upon it, we absolutely can. I just think the only time that it kind of went the romantic way was Skyward Sword,
which no one finished anyway. So
I did.
I got close.
Pregnant pause.
Was it? Did it end well?
Yeah, it ended well. I mean, do you want me to just bring up the spoiler?
Did it end like every other Zelda game?
So the way it ends is
that's loud on our end. Jesus Christ.
No, it's not that loud.
I'll have to reduce the sound.
I'm just fucking.
So Girahim, which is the pale-faced stranger that you're fighting throughout the entire game, is revealed to be the sword belonging to Demise, which is the ancient form of Ganon back when he was almost like a primordial god. You fight and defeat Demise, but in his dying breath, he unveils that in the future you're going to continuously be reincarnated and you will forever be locked in like an eternal struggle with him. So from a lore perspective, it is kind of an interesting game because it explains why you see like certain events and characters caught up in the same struggles over and over again. Yeah, that's the main big thing I remember from the end of that game. There's also like a split second where you can see the symbols of the sages from Ocarina of Time on the side of a temple. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that's about it.
I don't know if if Link and Zelda just, you know, are two peas in a pod in a way. They're bound by their souls and this curse that's been put upon them, similar to Geralt and Yennefer. But oh man, I don't think it can be. I don't think we see it as fleshed out or as interesting as Geralt and Yennefer, or even Ellie and Dina. So I think it has to be below those two at the very least.
The Legend of Zelda Link relationship is one of those relationships that really make me wish that we had a Netflix Zelda series. It's been like rumored and speculated and hypothetically linked
Wasn't it just
forever.
recently rumored to have been canceled by Nintendo because it was rumored and speculated?
I really wish that we had a series that at least featured the relationship in some capacity, because, like, you know, so often in the Zelda games, the plot necessitates that we can't see them being buddy-buddy for too long, because eventually Link has to go off and fight Ganon and explore dungeons and break pots and whatnot. And within the context of like a series, you could totally have them doing this more kind of slice of life-ish stuff that I feel like the games are often lacking in. Yeah, I'm fine. Were you recommending that we put it at like B or possibly even A? Because I'm fine with either A or B.
That's you, Mitch.
I'd rather it be lower because I don't think it's a very good relationship, so I'd say B.
Yeah,
right,
I'd go with B as well.
Would you have, I'm curious, Mitch, would you have gone as low as like D if you had the option?
Yeah, honestly, because
Really?
I don't think there's enough of a relationship between them. I feel like it's mostly just, you know, princess, like
They're doing their duty.
trope. And they're
They're
exactly. By plot device, they are linked together and nothing more. Speaking of plot devices linking characters together and nothing more, Peach and Mario.
Hell yeah. In this, again, like auspiciously state of undress
Stop drawing attention
photo.
to the picture. It's just what I got. Don't worry about it. Stop.
Tell me more about Mario's nips.
There are none. It's from Odyssey. He had no nips in Odyssey.
Huh?
Remember, no nips on Twitch.
No. He had nips in Odyssey. He definitely did.
The thing about
Either way, let's talk about the relationship between Mario and Peach.
Mario and Peach's relationship might be even more iconic than Link and Zelda's, but we at least get to see more scenes throughout the Legend of Zelda series where Link and Zelda are like doing stuff together or just hanging out. Whereas in contrast, you don't really get nearly as much of that stuff in Mario. There are games like, what is it? Like Super Mario 3D World, which is, by the way, getting a remaster soon, where, I mean, they do actually...
Comes out this week.
Yeah, they do actually, you know, travel together and beat up enemies together, but I don't know if that really counts.
I think our buddies over at Addictive Nerds in the chat have it right in that they feel like that TV couple that you ask yourself, how does it happen? But it just kind of works. For whatever reason, it's just that it's so iconic to video game relationships. Peach is with Mario. It's just how it is. He's always trying to rescue Peach. That is the motivator for probably like 90% of Mario games, is trying to rescue the princess. Which feels, honestly, I feel like there's more plot development there than there is in the Legend of Zelda series, if you're being perfectly honest. I feel like there isn't enough of an emphasis put on that relationship, and it just kind of happens. Whereas Mario and Peach, for whatever reason, just makes sense.
So I've got these amiibo here of Mario and Peach wedding ones, and I've also got a wedding Bowser amiibo. So, like, is it actually polyamorous?
I don't know if we want to dig into the weeds too much on that. I think the
end of
intricacies-
Odyssey, she didn't choose either of them. So
I think the intricacies of the relationship and the way it's developed over the decades with Bowser and Mario and Peach and any other ancillary characters that kind of make their way into this evolving soap opera of a character sheet. For me, it ranks it real high. I don't know how you guys feel.
I don't know.
Who is
I feel
Baby
like
Bowser's mom?
Shigeru Miyamoto revealed that it's himself, actually.
Okay. I thought he was Mario's dad.
I don't remember what website it was. There was like a gaming website that's like, we ask Shigeru Miyamoto all the pressing Mario questions you've had over the years. And the first question was, who is Bowser Jr.'s mom? And he just is like no words, just motions.
Points at himself.
Pointing at himself. He's the creator of all. I know I want to rank it high. AJ, Kozi, how do you guys feel about the Peach Mario relationship?
I'm feeling like it should more be at like a B, personally.
I think it could be equivalent to Link and Zelda.
All right.
Personally,
I think
the purpose is Mario has to go rescue the princess. That is their relationship. It's the plot of the game, so it's the same argument. And they don't do anything necessarily with that plot.
I just like the Mora's
Geralt and
character.
Yennefer.
I wanted them higher, but it's fine. It's all good.
All right.
Next up, we got the Chief and Cortana from the Halo series.
It really
is.
I just want to say
this is an interesting relationship.
I mean, it's interesting for a variety of reasons. It's interesting / funny that we have two female characters in a row that are voiced by the same actress, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But how do we feel about this relationship? AJ's made his intentions clear. Kozi, how do you feel about Cortana and Master Chief?
I feel like there was a joke in my previous sentence there, but I didn't find it.
There was not. Please go ahead.
So like, here's the thing. Unfortunately, my experience with the Halo series is kind of limited. I talked about this on the Xbox Series X review episode, where I tried playing Halo 1 and then a bit of Halo 4, and I experienced a real annoying audio bug in both games that ultimately led to me just stopping while I was ahead. What I saw of Chief and Cortana's relationship in 4, at least, did seem pretty cozy to me. It seems like both really kind of respect each other and, you know, love each other in a platonic fashion. And I do want to salute that.
So, okay. No, go ahead, Mitch.
I was going to say just the way that the relationship evolves over the course of the franchise, the way the characters develop, the way they build their relationship with one another. And this is someone who has not played 5 yet, so I'd rather we avoid spoilers. Mm-hmm. They take those characters in a very interesting direction that I wasn't expecting from the beginning of the series. And I think both the individual characters and the relationship between them grows in a very unique way that we haven't really seen before in games. And like Kozi said, it is a platonic relationship. It's not, it is a working relationship that grows into compassion for one another, which is really great to see. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I'm hoping that 343 can really knock it out of the park with what they do in Infinite.
Yeah, that would be nice, because that, for a lot of people complain about the Cortana stuff in 4 and 5. I'm not going to get into specifics. Personally, I think all the other stuff around it is less, like, around the Halo stuff is less interesting than the dynamic between this genetically enhanced super soldier and this newly sentient AI. So for me personally, being there over the years and watching their dynamic grow together platonically was actually very good to see a more like a less romanticized, in the literal term, male female relationship, and more like, hey, no, we can work together, we can be friendly together, we can care about each other and have that compassion without having to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they take it to such greater lengths in the later games, I personally feel like it's very, very it was so nice to see. No spoilers. The moment at the end of Halo 4.
Again, I can press a button on my Stream Deck
and
we can go into spoiler mode.
It's more for you too, Kozi, because you haven't played the games yet. We want you to experience this relationship.
You need to
really
experience these things.
Maybe I need to take a step out of frame for a second and come back as drugstore spoiler tag button. What do you think?
Maybe.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, it's whatever. I think their relationship and their dynamic, like, it's not the main plot, and they don't do it necessarily for the plot. Master Chief does end up going after the character of Cortana because there is the background, and I don't mean going after in the positive or negative. It just that does become the plot. Like, you're going towards Cortana as the character. It does sort of. It definitely, with the foundation of the first few games and everything that you have behind it, it just carries so much more weight that you have to kind of get through. Then there's a lot more weight behind it than, hey, your princess is in another castle.
I think we should go ahead and rank it at A.
No. Go ahead, Kozi.
I was going to say, I think we should rank it at A based on the argument that you just gave.
I'm happy with that. I don't have the nostalgia glasses for it because I did play them a little more recently. But I still think the relationship is rock solid. I think it's definitely an A rank relationship.
I wasn't sure. Honestly, I wasn't sure. I started rambling at a certain point. I wasn't sure how well I was articulating what I was
It happens to
say,
all of us. Don't even worry about it.
All right, A we go. Next relationship, Max and Chloe from Life is Strange Season 1.
I'm taking my headphones off, and you can bring me back when the spoilers bro is done, because I've not played this game.
So wait, you're actually giving me permission to press the spoiler button?
Press it.
I feel like you have to for this one, but headphones are off. Y'all have fun.
Okay. This is one of those instances where I was actually going to recommend, like, hey, you don't, like, we can actually remain spoiler free as possible and we won't have to press the button. But I guess Mitch really didn't want to hear that super loud sound effect that is not super loud.
Yeah, it's not loud on my end. I think Mitch is just a baby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty fond of this relationship. It was cool for a change to play as a character like Max, who is very kind of studious and very smart, but also very kind of shy. And I like how both like her personality and Chloe's personality kind of, it was sort of like an opposites attract kind of scenario where I think they both learned from each other over the course of the game how to, improve themselves in ways that each other was lacking. And it's unfortunately very heartbreaking that no matter what ending you choose in Life is Strange, things end in dramatic and sad fashion.
Yeah, I haven't played these either.
Hold on a second. So you haven't played this game either?
No, I haven't. I'm not worried about these spoilers because by the time I eventually do get around to it, I'll probably forget everything you said just now. So
okay.
But I have. I mean,
I don't even feel like I gave any spoilers at all. So
yeah, no, I didn't feel that way either, to be honest. I think, I have heard such great things about the story of this, that I think I trust your judgment into where in this list it deserves to go.
The thing about Max and Chloe's relationship is that it is. I'm trying to find like a good comparison here. Okay. If the relationship with Ellie and Dina in The Last of Us Part 2 is like a beautiful handcrafted croissant that you get at a Parisian bakery, and it's just buttery and crunchy and just delicious, and when you bite into it that it's like super duper from the earth and natural and organic.
We're not ready for you, Mitch.
The Chloe and Max relationship is like a store-bought croissant that is filled with caramel and chocolate and some other third cream that is even all the more delicious, but also is all the more processed. It is like, to this very day, I still see people throwing around memes about the amount of times that Chloe says hella in The Last of Us Season 1. It is way more compared to the relationship that Ellie and Dina share. Cartoonish and clumsy, but it is also endearing in the same way that a store-bought croissant that's filled with chocolate and caramel and another unidentified processed cream is still oddly preferable in some cases to like a nice handcrafted Parisian croissant. You know what I mean? Gotcha. There are some people that are really taking offense at me comparing the relationship to a store-bought croissant. What I'm saying is that it's like their relationship is definitely not made with as much finesse as the relationship that Chloe and Dina share, but there is still something addictive and endearing about it that I feel like The Last of Us Part 2's central relationship is lacking in a certain way that only comes about because Max and Chloe's relationship isn't depicted perfectly.
Yeah. Okay.
All that said, I feel like they should probably go at A, not S.
Yeah, sure. I can agree with that.
All right. Mitch, you missed a fantastic conversation about croissants. It was quite the delicious one.
Was it about how Tom Holland doesn't know how to pronounce the word croissant?
No, I don't know about that. How does he pronounce it?
He definitely doesn't know how to do it. Let me see if I can find the video. I'll share it in the Discord. Y'all can check it out after the show.
Croissant.
Next up, we have the relationship shared by Elena and Nathan Drake from Uncharted. I feel like myself and AJ have been talking a lot, so the floor is yours, Mitch, to say whatever it is you want to say.
This relationship has its ups, it has its downs. It goes through a lot of the tumultuous things that many relationships go through. Trust issues. The having of children at some point is probably in the cards or has been in the cards. No spoilers. I feel like the way they grow over the course of the 4 games is really. I don't remember if she was in the Vita one, but the way that they grow together over the course of the series, and you see them mature and come together, and also some of the rough patches. I think it's a great representation of what a real relationship can look like. Honestly, I think it's really human, and I think it just goes to the quality of writing at Naughty Dog that I want to put this right with the other Naughty Dog game at S tier. You can call me a Sony pony, but they know how to write characters.
Absolutely.
What prevents me from putting this up at S tier is that while I agree with everything that you just said, Mitch, I feel like Nathan and Elena's relationship only really becomes what you're describing when we get to Uncharted 4. Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, we do get to see their relationship progress a bit, but I feel like it's in spurts and not nearly as linear in terms of its development as you would hope. In Uncharted 3, like, I remember one criticism that I had of that game back in the day is that it kind of feels like somebody hit the reboot button on the relationship after Uncharted 2 when you think it would have kind of continued to progress more. And I don't remember if there's like a specific reason that was given in Uncharted 3 as to why things were the way they were, but when I look at the relationship across all of the Uncharted games, I wish that we had seen them built up to the relationship that they get to in Uncharted 4 in a little bit more of a consistent fashion. Do you think that's unfair of me to say?
No, I think that's fine. I think there's aspects of their relationship that we miss out on between games, because honestly, the way the games are made, it's a roller coaster ride, right? It's a blockbuster film, and it's hard to fit a ton of character development into that, and there is a lot of off-screen development that does take place. But I still think that, I don't really care. Honestly, we can put it wherever. It really does not matter to me. AJ, what do you think?
I don't think it's as strong as Ellie and Dina. I think Geralt and Yennefer are. I think you have the linearity that you were talking about is kind of like missing, because it is a roller coaster in Uncharted. And you get to see that nice through line. Similarly, in The Last of Us, you get to see that nice through line. And you get to see that with Master Chief and Cortana. I can't necessarily speak to Life is Strange.
I cannot believe it, but we have yet another piece of breaking news.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Gina Carano, who features in a supporting role on the Mandalorian TV show, is no longer employed by Lucasfilm.
Oh, wow.
It's those transphobic comments she made? Is that getting back to her?
That and the most recent controversy had her on social media comparing being a Republican in modern America to the plight of the Jews in Nazi Germany.
God damn it.
So in a statement from Lucasfilm, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. So
I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised, because the controversy surrounding Gina Carano has been it's something that has followed her for quite some time, and didn't seem like there was really a lot of movement on that. But
it was very silent until today.
Even despite it being kind of surprising, I mean, obviously I'm fully supportive of this.
Yeah, I mean, even still, I didn't find necessarily her character in The Mandalorian to be all that interesting.
Was she?
I thought it was a good character. I think there are a number of other capable actors that could play that role.
But we know how well recasting in Star Wars has gone. So I think it's better
This is a recast for the positive. I think they had to cut ties when they did. There is the what are they calling it? Rangers of the New Republic.
That's what I was going to ask.
In the Mandalorian universe that's coming, there was no confirmation confirmed. She or that character would be a part of it. And now if that character is, well, that character still could be. It just could be a recast, which I would be totally okay with.
Sure.
Oh, Gina Carano.
All right.
Back to what we were talking about. Yeah,
Ellie, to what we were talking about.
Nathan Drake and Elena.
I'm fine putting them at
I'm fine. Sure.
The way that you said sure that quickly made it sound like you're not super happy with this decision, Mitch.
I mean,
I think he's distracted.
Yeah, it's been a distracting show. I apologize. But I think we can move on to the Final Fantasy segment to end off this list, starting with Sora and Kairi of Kingdom Hearts. May your heart be your guiding key.
Somebody within the chat at some point asked, hey, where is Sora and Riku? And I feel like that would be a much better contender to include in this tier ranking, because playing through the entirety of the Kingdom Hearts series, I feel like Sora and Riku's relationship with one another is way more palpable than Sora and Kairi's relationship with one another.
So I feel like the whole part of the game exists solely based on the fact that Sora is trying to rescue Kairi.
I mean,
the entire plot does not exist if that relationship is not pre-established, strong, and continues to grow over the course of the franchise.
I mean, yes, but like when you get around to Kingdom Hearts 2, like Sora is looking for both Kairi and Riku at the beginning of the game because he got separated from them for reasons. When he reunites with Kairi, it's kind of like, hey, Kairi, good to see that you're doing okay. When he reunites with Riku, he's like on the floor crying. Like you can really tell that the relationship that the two boys share is something really special in a way that I don't really.
Sora and Kairi's hearts are entwined. His heart lives on in hers when he becomes a Heartless. Like, you can't make this shit up. Literally.
I think they did, though.
I know. And the fact that they did, and they went there, this is it depends on what we're looking for in terms of top video game relationship. Is it something in a romantic sense? Because this is really the only romantic relationship in the series that is obvious, and a lot of the other ones are just relationships that the internet wants to happen with some questionable fan art and fan fiction accompanying it.
Questionable.
Have you seen some of the stuff out there? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just check out DeviantArt.
It goes hard. Hard.
Here's the thing. I personally stand by that. I don't think that the relationship shared by Sora and Kairi is as great as it could be. And I think that it shouldn't go at D, but I think that C is honestly where I would rank it at.
I wanted it S rank. What the heck are you talking
S
about?
Rank? Really?
Absolutely. The whole series lives by this relationship.
Again, I feel like whenever there's a moment in the Kingdom Hearts series where
shared fruit,
Sora reunites with Kairi and then Sora reunites with Riku, if you compare and contrast them side by side, like the emotions that Sora expresses whenever he is reunited with Riku are, again, that much more palpable. I've used that word a lot. I shouldn't use this.
Can we use Sora and Kairi here as just a representation of the relationships in Kingdom Hearts as a whole? Because the whole series is built on the relationships between these characters.
Sure.
Okay. So in this representation of Sora and Kairi, meaning the entirety of all relationships in Kingdom Hearts, where would you want to rank it in terms of how relationships are presented in this series Kingdom Hearts, Kozi?
I mean, I guess it's...
Alex isn't here. We can do S rank and he'll be really upset.
I mean, I guess it's like between B and A.
I don't think we can play favorite. We can choose favorite hosts here, because if Nathan suggested the Bowsette one, I feel like I would feel guilty picking a favorite here, and I think maybe they should be in line at the D rank.
None of the characters here that we've talked about so far, none of the protagonists here, so, Chell and Portal, Mario, Link, Master Chief, none of them have died, literally sacrificed their own lives.
That's a good point.
For their partner.
Kingdom Hearts 3 spoilers, by the way. You should have asked me.
So you're saying Dom should go up?
Yeah. I wanted it higher.
Listen, I want to say it. I realize that it sounds like I'm trolling saying this, but like genuinely, having played through many of the Kingdom Hearts games multiple times through, I just find that the relationship that Sora and Kairi share, I feel like it's just not as interesting as it could be. And I feel like the kind of lack of conflict in it, while on one hand it speaks to, just how much they truly do love each other, that they kind of let whatever conflicts they might have with each other wash off their backs. I feel like it just does not make for something that I find particularly memorable in the way that I find Sora's relationship with Riku to be memorable.
Okay. Can we still put it at an S rank, please? The chat wants it in an S rank.
I don't want to put it at, for the record, one person in the chat wants it at S rank.
He's the most active person in the chat right now.
Hey, addictive
That's fair.
Nerds. I won't put it at C because I think that I don't want to like torture you in that fashion. But again, S rank just feels a little bit too high.
AJ, we have it at C and we have it at S.
No.
You are the
No. I said I don't want to put it at C. So B or S or possibly A. Depends on AJ.
AJ, may your heart be your guiding key.
BS sounds right to me.
I mean, you said S second, so I think it goes into S.
Yeah, but S means shit, right? I can't in good faith put it at S.
There we go. Does that make you happy, Mitch?
No. But whatever, let's just move on to the last Final Fantasy
BS
one.
rank.
I don't care
like
about Titus and what's her face.
Yuna.
I never played FF10. Y'all have fun. I tried. I goddamn tried. Cannot fault me. I brought up Kingdom Hearts more than once on this show.
Man, a lot of hate for Final Fantasy X in the chat right now.
Yeah.
This Final Fantasy thing goes so we can call it.
Do you have any thoughts, AJ?
I have not played. I really have not played a Final Fantasy. And this one is probably the one that I got furthest into. I sleep over at my cousin's house, and we stayed up late, and they handed me the Final Fantasy controller, and I just did it, and it was fine. I think the better relationship is between the two Blitzball teams, to be perfectly honest. So those are my thoughts.
Quick little spoilers. So let me bring up the spoiler graphic thingamabob. Yeah, Mitch, weren't expecting that, were you? Mitch looks great right now. You better watch these shows live. So at the very end of Final Fantasy X, aka Final Fantasy X, aka the first PlayStation 2 Final Fantasy mainline game, Yuna tells Titus that she loves him, but it's one of those lines where the original Japanese version of the line is sayonara, which means goodbye, but it's a way of saying goodbye in the Japanese language. It has a certain finality to it. It's the kind of thing that a kind of dying grandpa on his deathbed would say to his children before passing away. And so it's one of those cases where the English translators of the line took that line and were like, oh man, we need to spruce it up and really kind of convey the extent of the emotional distance or lack thereof between these two characters in this one last moment of the game. And so I feel like that's worth talking about when we talk about how close are these two characters actually. I don't know, man. You want to put it at B and call it a night?
I mean, everything else is at B.
So what I'm seeing from this list is that video games don't know how to do relationships right unless it's Naughty Dog. And with that, I think we can put that at B rank.
All right, then.
All right.
So to summarize this weird-ass ranking we came up with, at D tier, you have Wario and Bowsette. At C tier, you have Vincent and the Catherines from Catherine. At B tier, you have Chell and the Companion Cube from Portal, Dom and his wife from Gears of War, Zelda and Link from the Legend of Zelda series, Mario and Peach from the Mario series, and Titus and Yuna from Final Fantasy X. At the BS tier, which is basically just S tier, you have every relationship in Kingdom Hearts ever.
Yeah, it's a weird S tier that's underneath A tier for whatever reason. Very strange.
Yeah, it's weird how that happens. Same thing happened in NAC tier.
At A tier, you have Geralt and Yennefer, Master Chief and Cortana, the protagonist, and I don't remember the names of the characters from Life is Strange. The characters
Max
from Life is Strange, season
Chloe.
1.
Max and Chloe.
Max and Chloe, thank you. And Nathan Drake and Elena from the Uncharted series. And our only S tier rank is Ellie and Dina from The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay, just humor me real quick. Where do you think a proper Wario and Waluigi would go on this list?
NAC tier.
So I remember back in the day, I think this is during the early 2000s, there was like a blog, like an official Nintendo run blog that was like Wario offering up his opinions on like upcoming video games. And I remember in that blog, you would catch brief snippets of Wario talking about his time living with Waluigi. And I remember, and again, this is like, you know, super old Nintendo history. I don't know if this is even considered canon anymore, but I remember from those blogs that Waluigi was apparently incredibly dumb. Like he would say stuff like, "Hey, do house cats grow up to become tigers?" Like shit like that. And B, Wario like hated him. So I feel like it would probably rank it like D realistically.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
Can I go now?
Yeah.
No.
Can we just, all right, if we're not coming to a consensus on anything tonight, I'm just going to go for it. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Press YYZ. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to check us out over on YouTube. Catch us live over on Twitch. Rate and review us over on Apple Podcast. Listen to us on any podcast service you may consume from. Hang out with us on Discord and follow us on Twitter at Press YYZ, where we keep you up to date on the goings-on of this show and many others. And of course, you can find the rest of the crew all over the internet. AJ, where can you be found?
You can find me all over the internet at @TimesHero, capital T, capital H. And like I said at the top of the show, I've been doing some streams on on Twitch, on my Twitch channel, TimesHero. And I've been playing Melee, just going through the single player of Melee, and it's been fun. It's been a fun nostalgia trip. I'm running out of unlocked characters in my save right now, so we're gonna have to see what I'm gonna do about that. If I'm gonna try and I want to try and do everything I'm playing in Melee on stream. So trying to unlock the characters and then going, if there's enough time, going through their classic and adventure mode in there for at least for now. So I want to try and do that with that. My first goal, all the characters classic and adventure mode. So check it out on Twitch /TimesHero.
Kozi, you're up.
Hey, you can, of course, as usual, find me on Twitter at AlexKazina. You can also find me on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive, where I've been cooking up a mountain of both video game and international themed dishes. Most recently, I decided to cook up some Carnivine cabbage rolls. Our leafy buddy got into a little bit of a bar fight. It was real nasty, but you don't need to worry because A, nobody had any lasting injuries, and B, he had most of his health insurance covered as a result of him living in Canada. Fun fact. So yeah, if what you are currently seeing on screen or the description that is going into your ear holes is of interest to you, head over to that Twitch channel because we are just getting started.
Can we promise not to say ear holes ever again?
No.
Cool.
No.
You can find me all over the internet at Mr. Mitch George. And as always, thanks for playing. Take care, everybody.
Your ear hole.